Hey there guys, how are you? Welcome back to another awesome video. And it's time for my very first TV show review. And so before we get into this TV show review and what the TV show is about, real quick I want to establish that I want to talk about television. There's a lot of television shows I want to cover. All sorts of TV, all sorts of things revolving around TV shows. I'll do TV show reviews and this is going to be a one-time thing only situation. But for future reference, whenever I'm going to review a TV show, it's not going to be I'm going to keep reviewing each episode per season. What I'll most likely do, which is the obvious thing, is probably review the show per season. So once the season's all wrapped up, then talk about that season, then talk about the next season, talk about the next season. But because the show is going to put up episodes each week, I figured I might as well talk about it. I talk about at least the first episode of The Mandalorian. So this is a Disney Plus exclusive original TV show, and in case you don't have Disney Plus, or in case you haven't seen it, there's going to be some spoilers. So fair warning to you people. I'll make sure it's said and done. So if you have Disney Plus, if you don't, big spoiler alert for some things about the show, and if you do have it, I recommend you check it out. It's quite an interesting show so far. It's pretty awesome. It's interesting. It's new. Also, the stuff that we'll talk about later. So, that being said, The Mandalorian. So, The Mandalorian is a Star Wars show. It takes place after the events of Episode 6, which is obviously Return of the Jedi, and we have the Empire's fallen, the Empire's no more, and the rebellion's kind of like basically in a big hoorah moment where they're like, we saved the galaxy. So, while everyone's basically happy joy, kind of the rebellion saved the galaxy and everything, people like your typical sort of villagers and your peasants and also the regular people of the galaxy are kind of like, we're free from the Empire, we don't need to be in fear anymore. While everyone's kind of at a big happy hoorah, crime has risen from the underground, so your bounty hunters, your scum, your villainy, all those sets of characters are kind of like basically saying, hey, we don't have the Empires on our butt, so now we can kind of get away with some things here and there and make it as low-key as possible. And this show specifically focuses on this one Mandalorian warrior who we know very little about, but throughout the episode we get little bits of his past and what type of person this guy was, but without kind of the idea of keeping his face a mystery, while providing this sort of different Star Wars story. So those who don't know me, one of the biggest things I'm a fan of is Star Wars. And I always have, always will be. Sure, Star Wars has definitely has had its downfalls in past years and in recent years and everything else. And it has its good, it has its bad. But no matter what, I'm still a big fan. This is something I feel like I grew up with its merchandise, with its movies, with its TV shows. Like, look at this thing. Like, come on. If this doesn't scream Star Wars, I don't know what. I own 3 lightsabers, so I don't know I don't know if that's saying a lot. Whatever. All jokes aside, obviously, Star Wars is a big phenomenon, and it always has and always will be. So to see this show is really, really great. Because, well, one thing in particular is this show, I'm not sure how the episodes work, but this show is written and produced, and I think some of the episodes, or all episodes, are going to be directed by Jon Favreau. So, the guy who brought us Iron Man, he brought us Pirates of the Caribbean, he brought us the Jungle Book, the live-action Jungle Book. He's Happy Hogan in the MCU. So, if this face rings a bell to you, then yeah, you're going to be like, okay, Jon Favreau. So, he has done this show, and it's really great. The fact that what's really interesting so far about this show is it's in the Star Wars universe, but it has nothing to do with anything that you've seen before. So it has nothing with the Skywalkers, the Solos, anything with the Sith, with the Jedi. There's references of what's going on. Like, obviously, the Empire's dead and destroyed. The Death Star was blown up. All sorts of things are referenced. But you're not gonna... So, don't expect any cameos by any of the characters. Or anything like, oh, we see young Rey. Or we see a young Ben Solo. Don't expect anything like that. Because I like how it's not gonna... rely on what the movies have and the characters in those movies to appear in the show to kind of get you hooked, basically hook, line, and sinker. I like how it uses this really great bounty hunter, and you don't even know the guy's name, and I love how mysterious he is, and he's such a badass, and the fact that he has no tie-ins to Boba Fett is really smart because you could have easily said, oh, he's a Fett, but Favreau was like, you know what, we're not going to rely on any character whatsoever. This guy is his own dude. He's a new character. He's an original character that we've come up with, we've created. The design is great. His backstory is definitely has some weight to it. He doesn't give that many lines, but his deliveries are very simple, sweet. His design is really cool. How it's very rugged. He feels like this feels like he's got grit to him. The show feels like it's got grit to him. Like, it feels like a Star Wars show, but at the same time it doesn't. It fits in the Star Wars universe without a shadow of a doubt. But the fact is that this dude in this show feels very like very almost grounded a bit, has a bit of down to earth kind of thing. Ironically, for a show that's in a galaxy far, far, far away. So to have this guy in this environment is really cool. He feels like just this a man of few words. Like this is a guy that, like a bounty hunter that has a tale to tell, and we're gonna explore that tale, and we're gonna tell that tale as we see more of this guy. And I love how he looks already. I'm a sucker for the Mandalorians. I love how they've got the armor, how it's got the dents, it's got the colors, it's got the sort of rugged armor to it, the steel, the type of steel, the material, everything from head to toe. I love the Mandalorians. Those are one of my favorite bounty hunters, and how they're not a specific race or anything like that. If you wear a Mandalorian armor, you're considered a Mandalorian. And his first sequence that you see him in, that first action scene when he's beating up the guys in the bar, is one of the coolest things. And can't get enough of the guy. We definitely have some interesting, unique characters that are also new. Like, we got this IG-88 unit, like IG-87, IG-89. I don't care what his unit number is, but he's definitely really interesting. He definitely feels kind of quirky in a way, and that's because of the fact that it's Taika Waititi. I mean, the guy was Korg from Thor Ragnarok, and the dude directed Thor Ragnarok. So not only does it fit that he's in this weird little world with aliens, and he's playing this robot, but he's got, like, for an assassin droid, because the IG-8 units, although are like assassin droids, have, like, this one has, like, a quirk to him, and it's kind of funny a bit. And the way he works off with this Mandalorian's great, how they're kind of introduced. They have, like, this, they're not friends, but they're not enemies. They have to be like, hey, we gotta make a deal here. Because bounty hunters and bounty hunting is a complicated situation. The risks you gotta do, and whatever it takes, and the moralities, and whether there's, and if there's a code, if there's not a code, how far will you go? And it just, all that matters is that when it comes to bounty hunters, it's okay how much, it's the fact of they're getting paid, like the credits, how much credits there is, how much the units is, how much is the guy worth, the price on his head, the person itself, the wanted man. dead or alive. All these factors that play into kind of being a bounty hunter. And what's kind of interesting is, real quick, I want to take this back for a second and say, what's really unique with this show is how, think of it as, not to make it relevant or make it anything controversial, but, or whatever, but think of kind of like this show as it's almost very similar to when after World War II ended, we all rejoiced in happiness that we did it, we won the war, huzzah, we did it, the Americans, all these other things and whatnot, etc., etc. And as this happened, we had basically like your gangsters, your mob, your mafia, your underground crime lords kind of basically like low-key start putting like basically committing crimes on the sidelines. That's kind of like what this is here a bit. With the fall of the empire comes the rise of like underground crime, if that makes any sense. And I think that's kind of what makes this a little bit interesting too. But back on track. We got Carl Weathers in this show, apparently. At first I didn't recognize him, but then I was like, wait a minute. I was like, that's Apollo Creed. That's what's his name? From Predator. I forgot his name. The guy from Predator. He's Combat Carl. He's a guy that you've seen his face before. It's kind of cool. He's got like a sort of what do you call it? Side character role. That's kind of interesting a bit. See his face around. I don't whether it's anything that has to do with Lando or not, because I've saw something with a rumor, but whatever. So that's pretty cool. Apparently Nick Nolte's in this show, which is kind of weird because to me it's Nick Nolte and it's Sam Elliott that are the two actors that are like really, really old, that they've literally straight up said, hey, they're retired from film, they're retired from TV shows, they're retired from everything. And yet, it's kind of like, as soon as they're out, they're pulled back in. Which makes no sense because they've gone out of their way to say, okay, Hollywood, we're done. But yet, hey, look where we are now. And Nick Nolte's one of those guys. And he's like those little weird midgets? They're called Ugnaughts or something. It's kind of weird, I guess. It's a weird Nick Nolte character. It's kind of like, it's Nick Nolte just being Nick Nolte. Except he's like weird, stubby, shorter, stockier, and he's an alien. So there's that. I don't know if that's a complaint or that's a compliment that Nick Nolte's in this show, but it's definitely really weird. Obviously, with this being a Star Wars show, it's gonna have Star Wars television show. This is the first live action television show, and not only that, but it's definitely got, obviously this being a Star Wars show, it's something Star Wars related. It's gonna have action. It's got good effects going on, and this has got a good budget for a show that's a live action TV show. Because usually, like, it's like Star Wars, its effects are great, but think about it, it's big CG, big spaceships and all this other stuff going on, and big and grand, and spectacles and space operas, and that whole big shebang, and that fun jazz. This one has more of a, getting back to the grounded sort of grit to it. It is a low budget show, which is good. Because sometimes low budget is really good with its practical effects, with even the CG and the effects that they're able to work with are really good and everything. So the action sequences still feel like still feels like it's in a Star Wars universe. There's some people wearing stormtrooper outfits and armor, so I don't know if they're stormtroopers or not, but just kind of the idea of that they all kind of fit together and everything. The designs of the characters look great. Like I said, I love that Mandalorian design. Love it a lot. I can't wait to see more of this character. Can't wait to see more of this show. This kind of really, for a show that's kind of got this really almost gritty, grounded, like edgy, badass, like mysterious bad dude. Kind of has a very sentimental moment where this guy, this Mandalorian, once had a family and he lost his parents, and not only that, but the end is kind of a bit of a sort of really good sentiment because we see that him and the Mandalorian and this IG-8 unit are, I guess they somehow bump into each other for the same reward, and they uncover this like dome chrome thing container. They open it up, and it's not like a prize. It's not like anything like credits. It's not some like a MacGuffin. It's this little cute baby Yoda, like not Yoda like baby Yoda, but Yoda's species, because Yoda's species is kind of referred to as Yoda's species. Star Wars or Lucasfilms never clarified on what is the name of Yoda's race. So people have known to just refer to it as the unknown or Yoda's race. So they find a little baby Yoda, and it's so cute. I couldn't with it. I was in awe with it. And the Mandalorian, like, you start to see that he has a soft spot because he's basically having like a PTSD of, oh my gosh, this child was abandoned. I was an abandoned child too. And he just kind of sits there looking at the cradle, and it's like, you're sitting there like, oh, that was such a good moment. Doesn't matter where what that means, where that's gonna go, but you're kind of like, wow, that was really great, you know? I'm good. Okay. I'm good. But I did not expect something like that. I was expecting more of like a twist or something more dramatic or more intense. But that's how they end it. Is him just with the baby. And you're like, okay, because they're supposed to terminate this thing, but you see the IG unit go for the shot like he's about to shoot the thing, and you hear a bang, and all you just see is we cut to the Mandalorian. He shoots the droid instead, and he's like, I'm not gonna kill this thing because the reward was, hey, this thing is meant to die, and he was gonna murder a baby, and then he was gonna get paid for murdering that baby, but because of not that there's a code and there's a line with bounty hunting, but like one of the characters said, bounty hunting is very complicated in situations. So that being said, that's a very complicated situation. Do you go far as to murder a child? You know, it's crazy. That's kind of an insane idea to do, is murder a baby. It really is. So even for a bounty hunter, you're kind of like, wow. You would have thought that we'd see him maybe shoot the kid and we wouldn't cut to it, but you get the idea that, oh my gosh, he actually just killed the baby. But instead he doesn't. And it's really good. It was really great, honestly. I don't know how I'm gonna rate or grade TV shows. I might have a different system for it. Maybe, we'll see. But I definitely recommend watching The Mandalorian, checking out the first episode. If there's anything that maybe I missed, because I know there's definitely a lot of maybe references or Easter eggs that I've missed in the first episode. I know I caught Trandoshan's. There was a Toydarian, so Greedo from A New Hope. Not Greedo specifically, but one of his people. Trandoshans are like reptilian race, or like reptilian aliens, so think of like this bounty hunter named Bosk. So that's kind of cool. They showed the Mandalorian, like, whatever the heck that logo is, with the tusks, the skull. That's really cool. The Mandalorians live, like, underground. There's a female Mandalorian. That kicks ass, that's for sure. Okay, I thought I was gonna sneeze. I'm good. But I definitely really recommend this show. It's definitely really awesome. I can't wait for the next episode. It's going to air next Monday or next Tuesday. So they're all going to do it within a week. Each week's going to have a new episode. But I'm really excited, and yeah. So let me know in the comments, what do you guys think of the first episode of The Mandalorian? Did you guys see it? Let me know. If there's anything I missed, like Easter egg wise, let me know if there's anything I missed. Maybe there was some Easter egg or reference to Boba Fett. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything tying into Death Watch. Anything that I missed, whatever the case may be, let me know if there's anything that I'll check it out and see if anything happened. So, if you like this video, please smash that button. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I do awesome videos every day, every week. Make sure you ring that bell to be notified of new videos, new content every day, if not every week. Tomorrow, I'm not sure what tomorrow's going to be happening, but all I know is look out for more videos the rest of this week, the rest of next week, and possibly maybe someone during Thanksgiving break. Expect a lot of stuff happening for the channel within the holiday season into the new year. Things pertaining to 2019, things later on pertaining to the future, like 2020. All that and many more. So, if you don't like what you see here, click right here to see more. And I'm just kidding. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.